Well, look at that. Even more layoffs. Upwork announces 24% reduction in total workforce. It's kind of funny, the trends in these videos that I do. Like sometimes I'm talking a lot about China because China's in the news. Sometimes talking a lot about valuations of AI companies because that's in the news. And then layoffs come, right? So yesterday, PayPal came out and said they're going to lay off about 5,000 employees. And I was like, oh, well, there's another round of layoffs. And then Cloudflare came out and said they're going to lay off 1,100 employees. It's like, oh, that kind of sucks. And now it looks like Upwork is going to be laying off 24% of their workforce. Now, to be clear, when we're talking about Upwork, the main reason I'm talking about this is just this is in the news. I had a couple of viewers ask about it. They're not a huge company, but I think that is also something just to kind of consider when you're looking at the layoffs and you're looking at the employment environment. So many times when we talk about layoffs, it's about the large companies, right? The Microsofts of the world, the Amazons of the world, the UPSs of the world. And so where a lot of people are like, well, I don't work at a FANG company. I don't work at one of these large companies. So this isn't really affecting me. I think one of the big problems we have in kind of like the news cycle, the modern news cycle and how things get talked about is that the big things get talked about, but then we don't talk about the compounding effects of all the small things that are happening. So the compounding effects of all these smaller companies that are doing much smaller layoffs, right? They're laying off one people or two person or a dozen people, so that doesn't make it into the news. But when thousands and thousands and thousands of companies are laying off 12 people, that starts to get into a real number. So if you look at a company like Upwork, they had, I guess, 630 employees. So with a 24% reduction, it's looking about somewhere between 150 to 200 employees being let go. So that's not a huge number, but Upwork is a well-known company, and the fact that they're getting rid of 24% of their staff, I think kind of shows what's going on in the larger economic environment. One of the big problems that I've had over the past couple of administrations, again, under our first dead president, Biden, and now under, I don't know, Trump, whatever you want to call Trump at this point in time, one of the problems is I just don't feel like our leadership and our authority figures are, I don't know, it's not necessarily being honest. They're not necessarily lying about what's going on, but I do feel like they're kind of obfuscating what's happening right under the Biden administration. People were complaining about the economy and people were complaining about inflation. And basically Biden came out and just said, no. He just said, you're wrong. You're like, what? You can't, that's not an answer. The fuck? But I also feel that's the same thing now with Trump. Is one of the things that Trump learned is, oh, hey, you can just say no to your constituents, and so now people are having problems with the economy. And Trump is like, no, that is liberal fear mongering. The economy is fine. It's only the blue hairs who are trying to fear monger and tell you the economy is doing badly. And the problem is yeah, the economy is just kind of wonky as hell. And it's something to understand is going on. So we take a look at this. Upwork on Thursday announced a restructuring plan under which it will reduce the company's total workforce by about 24%. The company estimates that it will incur between approximately $16 million and $23 million in pre-tax restructuring charges in connection with the restructuring plan. The company expects most of these charges to be cash expenditures and to be recognized over the next 2 or 3 quarters, with the majority of these changes in the second quarter. According to Upwork, the restructuring plan is, quote, intended to build a more efficient operating model and position the company for profitable growth as the nature of work evolves. And this is the big thing I've been talking about a lot. I was just talking about this in my Cloudflare video, where having gone through a couple of recessions in the past, you used to hear about this one type of consultant, and they were efficiency consultants, right? And so basically when businesses were trying to increase revenue or increase profit or whatever else, they would bring in efficiency consultants, and the efficiency consultants would basically try to figure out where the bottlenecks are, try to figure out, why things weren't moving as smoothly as they should, try to figure out processes to make systems work more efficiently and that type of deal. One of the things I will have you think about, again, you think about this yourself, don't take it from me. When was the last time you heard anything about efficiency experts? Like, this is one of the things that I find really weird in the modern world, having been in the technology world for now 30 years, right? I look at the beginning of my career, and then I've been looking at the last decade. These two things do not look alike, right? And anyways, and like in the beginning of my career, it was all about metrics. Metrics. We didn't call them KPI at the time. We called them metrics. We knew the metric. You knew the metrics of the salespeople. You knew the metrics of the technology people. Everybody had numbers. And one of the interesting things that you see over the past 10 years is that seems to have gone away. Right? The idea nowadays that managers literally do not know the KPIs, key performance indicators, basically metrics of their own damn employees of their department, is basically a completely normal thing. Like, numbers? Why would we have numbers? Like, that's a weird thing. And then efficiency experts, again, like this is normal, just fucking normal, like just normal. I don't know how to explain. It was as normal as metrics back in the day. Again, the whole idea of efficiency. So you'd have efficiency consultants or efficiency experts come in. They would look at how people did jobs. They would look at the workflows. They would look at the processes, all of that kind of stuff. And their only job was to come in and streamline how everything worked because, again, with efficiency, if you can eliminate an employee or two, think about this, if an employee, back in the day, if an employee cost you $40,000 a year, if you can eliminate one employee through efficiency, that is $40,000 more a year you can put to somewhere else. Now, think about this in the modern technology world. If each employee is costing you $200,000 a year, that means each employee that you can eliminate through efficiency gains is $200,000 that could be going somewhere else. And as I talk about this, what I just want you to think about, when was the last time efficiency was brought up in any conversation as far as your company is concerned? If you're under the age of, let's say, 35, have you ever in your life dealt with an efficiency consultant or like an efficiency expert, right? Is this the first, are you 30 years old? This is the first time you heard that there's at least there used to be real professionals whose only job was to improve efficiency at companies. Right? And so basically, as we've had the past decade and a half, where interest rates were 1%, money was really cheap, the entire idea was basically hire asses. We are paying you for your ass, put your ass in a seat, and that's all they cared about, right? They don't care about the metrics. They don't care about efficiency because the only number that matters is asses in seats. And that's where we get to in the modern technology world. And so what we're seeing with more and more of these companies is this is standard business practice. Look, I understand there's a modern world of capitalism and all that kind of stuff. But with some of this stuff, this is just normal business. This is just normal business. This isn't crony capitalism. This isn't Gilded Age capitalism. This isn't the rich people putting their knees on the neck of the poor. This is just how business should operate, right? You should have people in your organization trying to improve the efficiency of the departments and the people in your organization. And so I think one of the big things that's happening right now with so many of these companies, and the big thing that's going to be happening in the economy, is we're just going back to normal business processes. We're going back to the normal business processes we had in the early 2000s, and had in the early 90s, and had in the 80s, and had in the 70s, and had in the 60s, had in the 50s, had in the 40s, had in the 30s. Right? The past 10 years has been this fever dream that's basically been fueled off of idiotic 1% interest rates that has nothing to do with nothing, right? It cannot hold. And so now we just have to get back to what business just is. And what that means is things like efficiency, which means a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. And so I'll be curious to see how this works out in the future, because the big thing in the past is if you know your company needs to be efficient, even if you hate the efficiency people, even if you hate the efficiency people with a passion, if you grasp the concept for why they exist and you get fired, I think you're in a mindset to try to figure out the next place to go. Like, okay, what are my next steps? What I get concerned about, especially with the young people nowadays, I talk with real technology professionals that don't grasp the concept of their ROI to the organization. What I get concerned about now is what happens when we have a generation of technology professionals. And again, this generation might be old. They might be in their 30s at this point in time. That literally don't think their paychecks should relate to ROI. That don't think their jobs should relate to the profit of the organization. Who don't think anybody should be fired because of trying to increase efficiency of the company. Now, the interesting thing is what's going to happen with these people when they get laid off or fired, right? If you know, it's like, okay, I was no longer, or the company no longer believed I was bringing financial value to the organization. Okay, when I get my next job, I have to make sure that I can prove my value to the organization, right? That puts you into a mindset to get the next job and move ahead with your career. What happens when you lose your job because, again, trying to improve efficiency and this type of thing, and then you just think the only reason you lost your job is because rich people are assholes? Like, how does that mentally put you into a position to try to move your career into the future? I think that's going to be my question for how all of this works out. So yeah, it's just more and more layoffs. Yeah, the economy's got to right size. Look, the tech world has been stupid for 10 years. It's been stupid for 10 years. Like, I've been doing tech since 96, right? Shipped off to Basic March 1996. Been doing tech since then. And I have to say, like 20 years of my career, look, I may have been angry, I may have been pissed off, I may have disagreed with people, but I got it. Right? I understood what was going on. I'm telling you, the past decade in the tech world has just been stupidity, right? I was talking with a startup founder. I talked about this before, a few years ago, before all the layoffs happened. And I really want you to understand this. I was talking to the startup founder, again, really good company. They're going to do a lot of amazing things. And was talking about unlimited paid time off. So basically unlimited vacation time. And so it was interesting. So I was sitting down, founder, the whole 9 yards. And I was asking him, I was like, yeah, so how does this improve morale for your company? How does it improve efficiency? What is the ROI of unlimited paid time off? Right? And the most striking thing is that when he looked at me and he said, Eli, everybody offers it, so you just have to offer it nowadays. Right? That's just a hell of a thing. So much benefits and pay were just considered the basis for able to get employees. And one of the things I sat there and I was talking to him about is I was talking to him about actually being able to hire employees. And he literally said his biggest problem was that large tech companies were taking tech employees off the board. Now think about this, right? The big concern for big technology companies, everybody knows this, is that the next startup company is going to be the company that destroys the old guard. So what are you going to do? Well, what if you hire every vaguely competent technology professional so that the startup that will try to kill you 5 years from now literally does not have enough human resources to be able to build their company and to be able to compete with you? Like, that's real. Even Google came out 2025. I do believe it was in the UK. Google was literally hiring AI professionals. I do believe it was in the UK, paying them their full salary to do nothing. To do nothing. Google didn't have a place for these AI professionals, but didn't want them on the open market competing with them. So they just literally paid them to do nothing. And so, I mean, how many people have been professionals in that kind of world? And what happens when that falls apart? And that's the thing. It's just been stupid. The last decade has been dumb. Anyways, put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes and you want them on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, there's a link on the doobly-doo. There's also a link down there for my LinkedIn account if you want to follow the other stuff that I do. And with that, see y'all later.